possible that there is a diversity of gender, of race, and of age. Some families even brought their pre-teen children to dance there. After the third or fourth dance, the caller made an announcement from the stage, welcoming everyone and particularly welcoming new people. He said that the Chicago Barn Dance Company wanted everyone to feel welcome, to feel happy and comfortable, and to feel safe. He pointed out any of the board members who were present that night. The board members wear a name tag. And the caller said that if I, as a newcomer, had any questions or comments or anything that I need to talk to about someone, those were the people to talk to. I wondered why he had used the word safe, because I felt perfectly safe there. But in the months following my first dance, I learned that Chicago used to have a male dancer who was behaving and talking very inappropriately to women, particularly new young women. The board took this very seriously, had a meeting with this man, and eventually it was decided that he was not welcome at the dance any longer, and they told him that. I have to say that I was impressed that the board took care of that problem. At the break, first of all, there was a tremendous selection of snacks that in Chicago that is a volunteer effort and people bring food to share, but it was very nice. Everyone went down to one end of the room and for schmoozing and having snacks. A young woman approached me. She is a member of the board there, and she said that if I was comfortable with it, I could give her my email address and she would send me more information. I was perfectly comfortable with that. I gave her my email address, and within a day or two, she had sent me not only a link to the Chicago Barn Dance Company website so that I could look at the schedule, but she also told me how to sign up for a weekly electronic newsletter that tells everyone what's going on. Then there was also information on how to join the Facebook page. It's called Chicago Contra Friends. Each week, and for other dances too, not just the Contra dance, many dancers take pictures of people and post them on the Facebook page. So I even saw a couple of pictures of myself there, looking quite happy, actually. And when they tagged people, I was able to associate names and faces. In the months that I have been dancing, I have learned that this is a big attraction for the Chicago Barn Dance Company, particularly for the new, younger generation, but not exclusively for them. So I have continued to go to the dances there because I was treated so nicely as a newcomer. The salient points are they have a beautiful space. I was welcomed. The community invests heavily in the newcomers. And there is a very active Facebook presence. Any community has got their issues, and this one does too. But the current board pays a lot of attention to that and does their best to fix problems. So that's my story. I continue to go there, and it has been a positive experience for me.
Great, Joe. Thank you so much. We have lots of questions that have been pouring in.
Okay.
So if you'll just stand by, we'll have our webmaster, Lynn Nichols, reading you the questions, and we have reminders on the screen about how to send a question for those calling in. For those calling in, for those on the phone, you'll just have to bear with us because people are using the chat bar. So listen in, and here comes Lynn with the first question.
Okay, the first question is from John Dickinson. It is, let's see here. How important is popularity of caller or band to attract or discourage attendance?
We have looked at that issue again and again, and we have found very little correlation unless it is an out-of-town caller and an out-of-town band. In those cases, there's a lot of publicity about it. But we have gone through the records over the years and have not really been able to find a correlation other than that.
Okay.
Emily, next one.
How is there an effective? Do you have different venues from month to month, and if so, how does that affect attendance?
In Chicago, we dance every Monday night at the same venue, and have been doing that for years. There are a couple of other local dances, but the main Contra dance in Chicago is every Monday night at the same place.
Okay, how many people are involved in organizing the dances for Chicago Barn Dance Company? And how do you divide the responsibilities?
I'm not quite sure how to answer that. We have a board of 7 people, and we have a number of people like myself who are willing to do other tasks like opening for the dances. Does that answer the question?
I think so, yes. How do you handle photography? Because that can be a good way to boost attendance by getting photographs out, especially on Facebook and other social media. Do you have a photographer, somebody who's designated as photographer, or?
And do you get permission from the people you photograph?
This is a big topic right now, and we are just about to have a survey to find out how people feel about that, because not everyone likes it. Many people do. We have a self-appointed photographer who brings a camera, but he offers it to anyone who wants to take pictures. And lots of other people bring cameras and take them. Some people do not like to have their picture taken. Some people do not like to be tagged. So once we have the results from the survey, the board is going to figure out what to do with that. I myself suggest that if people don't want to be photographed or tagged, they talk to the photographers. And I have done that myself, and I find that they have been respectful. I know that at one of the local dance weekends, there is a disclaimer put out on the desk where people take money saying this is a public event. You know, it's very possible that your picture will be taken. But for the final word on this, we are waiting for the survey, and the board will hopefully come up with some answer that is palatable to everyone.
Okay, thanks. You mentioned, this comes from Joel Feiner, you mentioned welcoming the newcomers, but what about folks who have been coming for a little bit and are no longer new, but aren't old timers either? How do you convert that group into core members?
Well, I think that once they have been new for a little while, they find their own friends. And it is my belief that then they are more comfortable in asking other people to dance. So my neighbor is an example of this. At first, I introduced her to a lot of people. But as we kept going to the dances, she got to know them more and more. And she began to ask them herself. So now she has her own friends. I'm assuming that that happens with others.
Yeah,
we're really good about dancing with the newer people.
Any special focus in your efforts to attract new people and attracting younger people in college age?
This has been a lucky accident for us. We are not specifically going out and recruiting them, but several new dances have started up in the Chicagoland area at universities. Some of the students who have come and danced with us have then decided that they will try to get a dance going at their college. So Northwestern University has one now. The University of Chicago has had one for several years. We also now have a queer Contra that meets once a month, and that is just a gender-free. So it has not been solely our efforts in doing that.
I have one. A few people have asked similar questions, which is, how do you balance your group's focus on new people and making them feel welcome with the sometimes experience of new people being overwhelmed by a lot of welcome? Have you worked with your community on finding that balance and strategies, having some strategies to find that middle line?
No, I am not aware of any discussion about that at all.
Okay.
Here's another question. You mentioned Meetup as something that drew you in. What other marketing tactics have you tried? How else have you advertised, and what else gets people in the door?
Over the years, we have tried advertising in some of the local papers, but what we really have found is that word of mouth is what brings people in. For years, we always ask people when they are new, we say, how did you find us? And almost always it's a friend brought me. There is one man in our community who advertises on Meetup, and we have gotten some people through that. But other than that, we really are not advertising. Oh, wait, let me back up for a second here. In Chicago, this is not part of the Barn Dance Company. There is a program called Summer Dance, and they feature different kinds of dances, like 4 nights out of the week in an outdoor venue downtown. We are often on that schedule, so some people find us through that as well. They will have gone to another event and seen some barn dancing, and we put out flyers there. We get some people that way. Oh, and now the more I think about it, the more I'm remembering things. We have a little business size card that advertises the dance, and a lot of our dancers carry them with them, and they can hand them out if they're ever in a place where people are talking about dancing.
Great. Joe, a question from me. This is Katie at CDSS. Have you tried anything to get people in your doors that you feel didn't work, or that you will not be trying again?
We have not in the past, but the current board now has a sign-up sheet. I mentioned the board member approaching someone at the break, and we ask newcomers if they would like to leave their information. So I'm not aware right now whether the board also follows up with people who did not come back. That would be something I would have to find out.
Okay. Here's a question about dancer education. It's often lacking in regular dances, and you can get it at dance weekends and in the beginner's lesson on the floor, sort of osmosis. But have you tried anything to provide training and education to non-novice dancers outside the beginner's lesson at the beginning?
No, I don't think we have. It would be the summer dance program, which is not sponsored by the Chicago Barn Dance Company. That would be one way, but no, we have not done that.
All right, we're getting down to 1 minute. There were a few questions about the logistics of how you conduct the barn dances that I believe you mentioned, and I encourage people who are asking about that to email Joe directly. But there is another question that came in that I think is a good one to ask about attendance. So in the growth, Joe, that you guys have seen, is that growth in a specific demographic area, or have you been able to increase your attendance among a variety of demographic areas, ages and genders and races?
Well, we have a number of genders and ages and races. partly through the efforts of these other dances that have sprung up. We're getting more students. We do get some families. As I said, for us, a lot of this is word of mouth. We have found that true for years and years, that word of mouth is the best. It provides us more new people than any. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you.
Okay, Joe, we're going to wrap up your part of the web chat. We thank you very much for all of your perspectives and experiences. And for those of you who are listening by phone, if you have questions that didn't get answered, Joe's email is joe-mortland, MORTLAND, @neiu.edu. That's joe-mortland@neiu.edu. So Joe, we appreciate your willingness to continue answering questions that people might have. So next up, we have two new guests, Margaret Pigman and Laura Gorin, who are calling from Oakland, California. They're part of a gender-neutral dance called Circle Left Contra Dance that's sponsored by the San Francisco Bay Queer Contra Dance. So
I want to make sure I'm unmuting the correct Laura. So Laura Gorin, if you're the Laura I unmuted, please say something.
I am now unmuted, yes.
Yeah. All right. And then Margaret, are you beside Laura or are you logged in separately?
We're sitting at the table together.
Oh, great.
Fantastic.
Great.
And we're ready to go.
Okay, everybody, here's Margaret and Laura from Oakland, California.
Hello, this is Margaret, and I want to first tell you a little bit about our dance, Circle Left. We, as mentioned in the introduction, we're a gender-neutral dance in Oakland, which means that we use larks and ravens as our role names, but we are also different from many of the other dances in the Bay Area that use those role names in that there really is no correlation between gender and dance role. And even first-time dancers often try both roles. We usually have about 90 people at our dances, although of course there's, fair amount of variation, and we're the youngest dance in the Bay Area. We think that boosting attendance involves both recruitment and retention, and we have more to say about retention, but first a few thoughts about recruitment. Similar to Joe, most of our new dancers come because of word of mouth and personal invitation, which happens at other Bay Area dances or in those people's separate dance communities or social communities. We also send, I forgot to mention that our dance is once a month. So we send one monthly email to remind people that it's happening. We make Facebook events and we have flyers. And so all of these methods are easy to share with a new person who hasn't come before. We're pulling from lots of different dance communities. Here in the Bay Area, we have some waltz nights, and there's an Irish Ceilidh dance, and there are just other kinds of dance going on. And so contra dancers who do those other kinds of dance often bring experienced dancers from other genres. We are also accessible both in terms of public transit, so we are near a major stop on the BART line, and our prices are very affordable. We have $5 for 30 and under, $10 otherwise, but also pay what you can. And people at the door, they take the money and they say, how much change would you like? So that to like destigmatize paying less if that's what you can pay, or also encouraging people to pay more than maybe they're strictly encouraged to. In terms of retention, we created a space for a population that wasn't included in the existing Bay Area dances. Some of our attendees wouldn't be comfortable at those dances because of assumptions about their gender or what role they might want to dance, or even who they would prefer or should dance with. So some of that is Larks and Ravens. Some of that is we've asked callers not to gender people from the mic, because you don't know until you ask an individual person. We have gender-neutral dances, gender-neutral bathrooms, and our culture is very much of asking each person what role they want to dance. It's something that's mentioned in the beginner lesson. It's sometimes the caller in the lesson will model that of find a partner, ask them which role they want to dance, and get in a circle. And it's also modeled by many of the dancers who are currently attending. Now, Laura is going to say some more things.
This is Laura. So when we started this dance, we were looking for young people specifically, and queer LGBT people specifically were some of our target audiences. But it's not just those people who appreciate and attend our dance. Other people have said that they like the culture and environment, and so we're going to have some more notes on that. Some of the things that people appreciate about our dance are consent and safety culture. We know that a few people who are violating that can mess it up for everyone. Some of those ways involve unwelcome touch, but also paternalism and treating new dancers in a way that their agency and experience is not valued or welcome. So some ways that we think about that is that splitting people up when they're beginners, the goal of that as experienced dancers is to create good dancers, but what we're not doing there is making environments where people feel comfortable, and having people around them that they are comfortable with might help them want to be there and feel good and safe and come back. Some dancers that are experienced are driven away from their traditional dance communities because of touch or lack of consent, and they appreciate not having to worry about that at our dance. So to create a good first impression experience for our new dancers, again, we don't take them away from their friends, although we do encourage them to dance with experienced dancers. We model consent. We tell them, hopefully, that they're going to be like touch. Contra involves touching in ways that a lot of people have not experienced before if they're new to dancing. So we make that clear. We have a skirt table, so anyone can borrow a skirt or donate to take home the skirt, and that's a part of Contra culture that newcomers don't necessarily know about, and so that's a way of including them in that right away. We see new dancers excitedly go through the skirt table if they're waiting for the lesson to start. Another big one is afters. So we publicly announce after the dance we're going to this restaurant to hang out, and that helps create community. another local dance in Berkeley some years ago, Afters, which was communicated by word of mouth, really boosted attendance because it made people more invested in the community much quicker. So even if they don't go, it's telling people that we are a community, they're included, etc. We watch our language. We don't use any kind of slurs or words that could be interpreted as slurs, because we want everyone to be feel safe and that it's a community that will respect them. Real quick, we don't do a hambo. We do waltzes. Hambo is more of an in-group activity, and waltzes can be taught quickly, so that doesn't make people feel left out. And then here are some things about our dance.
Margaret?
Yes.
I think we're just about out of time here, so if there's any other quick thing you want to add, and then we're going to start into the questions.
So we have a couple of points about what might be transferable to your dance, which we can go through really quickly.
Okay, great.
So one overall takeaway is if you want to get and keep new and young people, especially young people, you need to be ready to change in ways that they want, because they're not necessarily going to want the things that are already there. So that includes having them on the board, consent culture, and language. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we've gotten some questions coming in. If anybody else wants to type your questions into the chat bar, go right ahead. We'll do the best we can with the next 10 minutes. So Laura and Margaret, you guys can just decide for yourselves which one will answer. So here we go.
Okay. Hi, it's Lynn. And I am asking a question that came in about the impact of gender neutral terms on attendance. Do you find that it has any effect on getting more attendance to the dances?
So our dance used gender neutral terms from the very beginning, so we don't have a pre-post example of how it affected our attendance.
But we do have a lot of people that wouldn't go to gendered dances. So again, we have this population in Oakland of people who prefer gender neutral. That may or may not be true for your dance.
Okay. All right. So here's a question, and this actually isn't specific to your dance, but it sounds like you've done a good job at this. How do you encourage word of mouth outreach? How do you encourage people to spread the good news about your dance and what's going on there?
I think it's just that people really enjoy coming to our dance, and so they want to encourage more people to come. I've overheard many a conversation at other dances of, hey, you should come to Circle Left. It's the best one in town. And they're not saying it for my benefit. They might not know that I'm one of the organizers. It's just people are doing it spontaneously. We're not asking them to necessarily.
Great. Let's see. Okay, one pretty quick and logistic question is, how do you communicate your pricing? Do you have a sign, or how do you help people understand that coming in?
We have a sign on the table that says $10 general admission, $5 30 and under, or pay what you can.
Great. And here's another one. How do you build a consent culture? How do you help people understand what consent culture is?
One way that we did it most directly for a smaller number of people was at Queer Contra Camp, which we are related to. We specifically have workshops on consent. Otherwise, it's from the callers prompting people to ask each other questions, and people modeling it from each other.
So then I'm sorry, now I'm jumping in with my own questions. Do do you limit your callers, or do you focus only on callers who use gender neutral terms?
When I book callers, I explain that we have a gender neutral dance, and most of the callers in the Bay Area are familiar with those kinds of terms because there are several dances around here that use larks and ravens. If there's an out-of-town caller who's asking if they can call our dance, I say, oh, it's great that you're coming into town. I'd like to tell you that we use larks and ravens, and we say right shoulder round. If that's okay with you, then I'd be happy to have you call our dance. But it's a prerequisite. If they're not comfortable with that, then I don't book them.
Hi, it's Lynn here. I have a question about when you're promoting your dance. Do you do outreach to beyond the queer community? I guess my question is sort of, if you have a very specific focus on your dance, but in order to grow it, are you specifically reaching out beyond your traditional community?
Yeah. We don't do a ton of outreach. We have Facebook events that people can invite their friends to, and we have the monthly email, and we have flyers at other dances. But mostly it's word of mouth and people telling whoever it is that they are connected to.
Great, thanks.
Other questions?
Do you guys have any other questions, or want Margaret or Laura to elaborate on something that they've said? We cut them off early to make sure it's time. Oh yes, go ahead.
This is Jens Dill, wanting to comment on the last remark. One of the things that has happened with Circle Left is that it has gained a reputation among the more traditional straight dance community as one of the hottest dances in town. And so to that extent, it's because of the energy and because of the feeling of inclusion and welcomeness. It really works.
Great.
And I've definitely heard experienced dancers from other communities be frustrated with people asking them to split up from their same gender partner, or trying to correct them when they're dancing, quote, the other role, and coming to our dance because people are explicitly telling them we don't have those issues in our community. So even if they're not queer, they appreciate some of that culture.
Great. We did have someone ask for clarification of whether or not we're entertaining audio questions now. I still think we should use the chat bar as much as possible, mostly because when 70 people have background noise all happening at once, it could get squirrely. So if you are not comfortable using the chat bar, then you can try to say the question using your mic if you'd like. Let's see. So we have a new question that has come in. We have a real problem with experienced dancers explaining the real meaning of larks and ravens. Do you have any strategies for that? And it sounds like you built your dance from the ground up using gender neutral terms. But if you've had any experience or advice, that'd be great.
One thing that we tell our callers, or we ask our callers not to explain larks and ravens based on gents and ladies, because there are dancers in our community who don't know that association. And so the explanations that come from the mic and that come from dancers on the floor are, if you end the swing on the right, then you're a raven. If you end the swing on the left, you're a lark. So it's positional and an explanation of the dance rather than tying it back to the traditional words.
Great. So we've come to the end of our Q&A time, and it looks like there's a lot of interest in gender neutral and culture of consent areas of discussion. Also, some other questions that came in for Jo that she wasn't able to touch on. Again, we want to encourage everybody to reach out to our very, very generous presenters and follow up, because the whole point is connecting.
So for those of you on the phone, you can reach Margaret Pigman. Her email is dangerbraid, DANGERBRAID @gmail.com. And for Laura, it's Lego28, LEGO28 @gmail.com. And we can also enter that in our chat bar here to share with you. So thanks again to Jo and Margaret and Laura. Woohoo! And we're now going to have a few minutes towards the end for sharing with you information about a variety of resources for dance organizers available through CDSS. For starters, I'd like to invite Emily Addison to speak with us. She has been spending countless hours delving into a vast amount of information for dance organizers, and we're right on the brink of sharing this valuable resource, so we're giving you a sneak preview. Emily?
Yeah, I'm here. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can. We're getting a little bit of background noise along with you. I think we can understand you.
Okay, I'll try to speak really clearly. And Lynn, can you bring up the resource portal on the slide?
Yes, I can.
Great. So just really briefly, coming out of the Canadian survey that we did, we heard that a lot of organizers were looking for opportunities to connect with each other to find resources, but also to have a central location where people could find resources that they really need. So over the last number of months, Linda and Lynn and I have been working on creating a resource portal. And it's just gone live on the CDSS website today. It's by no means finished, but we have populated it with a lot of the resources already available at CDSS and with projects we've been involved with. And there are plans to expand it and collect resources from all of you and really make this the hub to go when people have questions.
Emily,
yep.
Emily, let me explain how we're going to people can get there from the homepage.
Perfect.
So from the homepage of cdss.org, there is a resources drop down. And on the resources drop down, you click on organizers resources. And that'll bring up this portal.
Woohoo! There's the portal. Yay! Okay. So you can all go here this afternoon and start digging in. You'll find there's some spaces that aren't populated. And again, we're working on this. But there are 4 main sections. So Lynn is scrolling down and you'll see 4 tabs. Resources by topic. You can look for resources that already exist in certain areas. And we'll use the increasing attendance accordion bullet because that's our interest of topic today. And if we go in there and scroll down, it kind of explains a section. There are 4 different types of resources. There are workshop resources that have been presented at previous conferences, and they're organized chronologically. Then if you click on CDSS news articles, we've gone back for the last 10 years or so and pulled all the CDSS news articles which relate to increasing attendance. And then there'll be 2 other sections. One is called samples, which we are putting in examples of other resources. Say you have a second dance free card that you really like, we could put that in here, or a beginner's handout, and then there'll be other resources. So there's already some really great resources available here in different subject areas. And again, we will be populating those further in the months to come. And we're hoping to have a mechanism where you can easily contribute the resources that you have that you think are best practices to help other people out. So just briefly, Lynn scrolls back up. The main section really is these topics by interest, resources by topic, but there are 3 other headings. So there's an online discussions, and some of you will know about these different groups. These are opportunities for you to talk online with other organizers, and there's some that are probably missing, which you can help us fill in. But this is a great starting point, and especially I'll highlight, you might want to join today if you're not part of Shared Wait, because the questions that I've been seeing on the right-hand side are wonderful questions, and getting lots of different other organizers' perspectives is a Shared Wait's great for that. Then in-person gatherings, this is a bit of information on some of the conferences and other in-person opportunities to talk with organizers and learn and share and get excited together. And then the last tab, other resources, is kind of a combination of everything that was left over. So you can see the affiliate directories right there at the top. So that's what the portal looks like.
Emily, can we take a look quickly at the other topics?
Yeah, sure. Go back to resources by topic. And these were the topics that came out of the, these were the topics of interest to the Canadian organizers, and then were reconfirmed doing the US organizers survey. And there's explanations for each topic, so you can kind of see what type of information's inside. But there's mission and vision, community culture, that's like the consent, code of conduct, that's the feel of the hall, all of that. Increasing attendance, we talked about both attracting and keeping new people, and also keeping the regular dancers engaged. Anything related to youth seemed to cross so many different subjects that we pulled everything about youth together. And then there's musicians, singers, callers, and sound. Just to keep in mind, this is not only for social dance organizers, but Morris dancers might be interested in information in here, song leaders. So a lot of it's social dance focused, but not all of it. And then managing organizer volunteer information, anything finance related, anything related to venue, legal, insurance, and then weekends and other special events.
This is great, Emily. We thank you for all the many, many hours you did on it.
Yeah, it's a great start, and just grow.
Okay, so next we're going to give you a glimpse of other resources available through CDSS. On the portal, there is a way that you can find articles from the CDSS newsletter that are specifically relevant for organizers. We also have CDSS grants, and I happen to be the person that administers those. So if any of you have ideas for an event or project that would boost your dance and you need funding, please contact me. My email is linda@cdss.org. Another avenue for support is regional conferences that have been happening around the country and around the US and Canada over the last 10 years. And you can see information about that on the CDSS website. And we will continue these web chats over time. And so stay tuned for the next one, which will be happening in mid-September. The topic will be creating a thriving open band for any dances that have sit-in musicians rather than only having a hired band. So the time and date for that will be decided partly based on a survey that we'll be sending out very soon to gather your input. So I think it's time to be wrapping up our web chat.
Woohoo!
Survey.
All right, so thank you all for joining in and jumping in with us on this. We are so pleased at the response, and we need your feedback and your open, honest feedback on how this experience was for you, any ideas you have for improving it, and ideas for future topics. So we will be sending a survey out probably today or tomorrow via email to everybody who joined the call. So please take a few minutes to fill that out, because we will listen to what you say. The last thing I want to say is that doing this, culling through all of the resources, putting it on the web, hosting things like this, it all takes time, staff time, resources, and we are able to do this because we are member-supported organization. The donations and membership is a big part of our income. When you join as an affiliate, that helps bring in resources for you. We want to be the most effective, useful organization that we can be, and that is really based on community support. So we hope you'll become an affiliate if you're not. We hope you'll tell other people that we're doing this, and next time we'll have a platform that will host more than 100, and we'll see how that goes. But please talk about it, get the word out, tell the people you know that might be interested in the next topic, and we are so grateful for what you do. Linda has one more thing she wants to say.
I wanted to mention that we have recorded the web chat and we'll be posting it on the CDSS website. We'll let you know after the website how to access it on our website. And also, I am the person at CDSS who offers scholarships, and we encourage you all to consider coming to one of our music, dance, and song weeks this summer and continue these connections that we've started to make. And if any of you need a scholarship, just get in touch with me. We also have matching scholarships still, which are a one-on-one match with our CDSS affiliates. And we would love to help find good homes for these scholarships. So if you have people in your community that might be interested in coming to any of our camps, they happen in Massachusetts, West Virginia, New Hampshire, and Michigan.
And Linda and I will be at Cavell in Michigan this summer, and we love to meet with other organizers, not just in that region, but from all over. It's a mix of English and Contra and squares and other American community traditions. So look it up. It'll be fun.
We will continue to be interested in connecting with you however we can. Learning about what all of your dance communities need helps us then find ways to create resources for you. So please be in touch. My email again is linda@cdss.org. Stay tuned for information about the next web chat. And again, do fill out the survey. It'll give you a chance to weigh in on requests for future topics for our web chats, and also the time of day and the day of the week that we might have the coming web chats.
All right.
Thanks again.
Thanks for making it great, everybody.
We appreciate everything that you all are doing.